All you can eat buffet workers, what are your horror stories? I bus at a slightly nicer restaurant. On Fridays and Sundays we offer a prime rib and crab leg buffet, among a salad bar, hot and cold entrees, and a dessert bar. It's honestly pretty nice and our buffet runner keeps anyone from doing ungodly things to the buffet. But the one incident that will always stand out to me was when this family of 5 came in. From the moment they came in to the moment they left, they ate as many crab legs as they possibly could. Their server and I were clearing plates off as fast as we could, but every time we would return it seemed like another mountain of crab leg shells would appear in front of each member of that family. I know not how they ate so much and I honestly can't recall if they are anything besides the crab. Piles upon piles of shells were left upon the table after they left. It was truly a sight to behold. What's more is after I wiped down the table and came back with settings, I had to get another rag to wipe down the table again because something in the crab leg juice combined with our sanitizer and left a nice milky residue upon the table. Delicious. When I leave this job I'll never be able to look at crab legs the same way. I don't know what it is, man, but I cannot get full on crab legs. I can eat the entire buffet. I'm a tall skinny dude BTW and barely eat much of anything. But give me all the crustaceans you've got and I'll eat it all. Not mine, but I had a buddy who was 400 plus lbs, and the dude could put away some food. He went to a casino buffet that was one of the higher end ones that had crab legs and steak. On about his 4th or 5th plate stacked full of crab legs, the manager came out and gave him $250 in free slot plate to leave the buffet. Would have been sick if he held out for more. Da fuck you talking about, boss? I'm just getting started. I'm going surf and turf this mother into the ground unless I see 4 of those vouchers. A woman came in with 2 of her kids and had a pretty regular meal. You pay when you leave at our place, and she decided to sneak out with her younger daughter before paying, leaving her underage son alone at the table. We caught on pretty quick and sent someone after her, who found her in her car in the parking garage, waiting for her son to come as well. She refused to come back in and pay, so we had to keep her son hostage until the police came to handle the situation. What some people will do to their kids, I swear. I did something similar, but not maliciously. My wife and I went out to eat at a local Thai place and after dinner I realized I forgot my wallet and my wife didn't bring her purse. I left my wife as collateral and dashed home and back in record time. My first job was as a dishwasher in an all-you-can-eat fried catfish buffet. People are animals, especially the ones that get far more food off the buffet than they can eat. Then they take the leftovers and pile them on a plate or tray, covering ketchup and tartar sauce, then pour their iced tea over the top of all that. A lot of people did that, got at least 2 plates like that a night. Went as a customer to a Golden Corral. I'm walking to the chocolate fountain and 3 little girls step in front of me, and all 3 of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain and all they did was laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. At least they turned it off and I'm assuming didn't let anyone eat it anymore. At one point myself and 2 other family members worked at a Golden Corral, each in different sections, because small towns don't have a lot of job options for high school college kids. I worked in the bakery, which was surprisingly low in horror stories other than the chaos that remained after a large group of children came through. My brother worked the steak station. He got these regulars that would tip him pretty well if he would prepare blue steaks for them. The very idea of ordering blue steaks from a buffet makes me gag. My cousin worked the salad bar. Management would require her to keep seafood items on the bar for long after the point where they'd be safe to consume. I think the record was chilled shrimp from Mother's Day that stayed for over a week and a half. They finally caved and let her toss them when a customer complained about the smell. You got everyone talking about blue steak. Meanwhile, week and a half old shrimp on the bar. Watched a man at the Ponderosa walk up to the buffet without a plate, untuck his t-shirt, pull the hem up to form a basket, reach into the steam tray of chicken wings with his bare hand and just load up on hot wings in his makeshift shirt bucket. The woman in the kitchen was like, "Please sir, could you use a plate? Or just tongs?" Guy scoffed and looked at her like she'd asked him to don a tuxedo. Picked up some fish and chips recently. Saw they had all you can eat on Wednesdays. So I asked what is the most that someone 18 pieces of fish and 3 plates. She held up this huge platter of fries every single Wednesday. So he eats that exact order every week. Yes, and he goes to a different all-you-can-eat every day of the week. He got banned from the Chinese place down the road. That's kind of sad. Obviously an eating addiction. Not a buffet, but I worked at a pizza parlor that offered a lunch buffet of endless pizza. The lunch ran from 11 am 3 pm. This gentleman comes in, I think he was homeless. He serves up a sky-high plate of pizza and just goes to town. He stayed from the beginning to the very end to make sure he got his money's worth. Well, his body didn't appreciate being stuffed like a pinnet of pizza. He got up, waddled fast to the bathroom, and next thing I know I'm being told he had liquid crap trailing behind him to the bathroom and inside the bathroom. I was informed by my boss about the incident. I told him I was just heading out for a break. I was not about to clean that up. Fun fact, in the US, if you are not certified in cleaning up biohazards, your boss cannot make you clean up something like that. Nor can they, legally, fire you for refusing. My parents owned an all-you-can-eat buffet and I was there every day of my life from 414. My favorite horror story is when a couple came in to eat. Obviously, they love the crab legs, and every time my mom put some out, they took it all. Also, just a reminder, crab legs are expensive. Forget the other customers, they just took it and ate it all. So they're there for maybe 2 hours now and it's getting dark. They've eaten through at least a week's stock of crab legs and my mom finally decides it's enough. She stops putting it out in the buffet and brings individual plates to the customers who wanted it but couldn't get any due to this couple. Understandably, the couple is angry. They literally flip the chairs at their table, flip their plates, bowls, cups, etc. and completely trashed their area. Food was all over the floor, table, chairs. Sticky soda was dripping into the carpet. They left in a hurry, but someone caught their license plate. We called the cops and I think they said they charged them with something. I can't remember the aftermath details clearly, because I was probably 8 or 9 years old, 20 now. I just remember looking at the mess and feeling really angry that my sister and I had to clean it up with our mom. It was a family-run business, so we didn't have much help. Anyways, that's my horror story. The end. Something similar happened at a Chinese buffet in the town over from where I grew up. Only, I think the customers started fighting with each other over the crab legs. It was so bad it made the news. I'm pretty sure the place no longer serves crab legs, lol. Not an employee, but a customer. A long time ago, my mom and I picked up a friend of hers and we went to a local Chinese food buffet. This place had a thing where you could get a pound of food for $5 in a takeout container instead of sitting and eating at the restaurant if you want. So that was our plan. The 3 of us were browsing around the buffet line with our takeout containers, adding what we wanted to them. And then I noticed my mom's friend doing something freaking disgusting. He was eating a chicken wing, like, right in front of the buffet line, hiding his face behind his takeout container, and then he took the chicken bone and put it back in the buffet tray. I walked over to my mom and told her what he was doing, and at first she thought I was joking. So she walked over towards him and now he was standing there eating a slice of watermelon right off the buffet, and then putting the rind back in the tray. So my mom is like, what the frick are you doing? And he's like, don't worry, I do this all the time. They never notice. So of course both me and mom are panicking, worried that they're gonna call the cops or something because of this disfit. We basically pretended to not know him and continued to fill up our containers the right way. After a couple minutes, one of the employees walks up to my mom and tells her that they noticed what the guy was doing, and they noticed that we were also uncomfortable about it and didn't intend to blame us. But they warned her that if she doesn't get him to pay for the food in his container and leave immediately, they'll be calling the police. So of course mom tells him that we need to go now, and he just brushes it off like I don't care, they're not gonna do anything. Well, me and mom walked up to the front, paid for our containers, apologized, and walked out and left him in there. A minute later, you can see and hear him shouting with the staff. He throws his container on the ground and food splatters everywhere. He storms out, shouting insults as he leaves, and of course gives them a "I'm never coming back," to which they reply, "You're not allowed in here no more. We'll call the cops." So we're standing out by the car, waiting for him. Of course, we yell at him for being a piece of crap. We get in the car and the next thing you know, this mother starts pulling chicken wings and Chinese donuts out of his freaking pockets and eating them. We dropped him off at home and never spoke to him again. Not an employee or a customer, but we had a Chinese buffet shut down for a health code violation, which was employee was cutting veggies while taking a crap. To this day I still wonder if that means dude brought a bucket into the kitchen or veggies into the shitter, and I honestly don't know which is worse. I gotta respect that dedication to work. Not a worker, but I went to hometown buffet and the kid in front of me was slightly shorter than the buffet bar but had his hands in the yellow jello, just massaging it. Then his mom came by and snatched him away but didn't say anything while a guy came and made himself a bowl of jello. 10 years old me was too appalled to say anything. I haven't eaten jello since then. The jello looked tense. He was just helping a brother out. I worked at a Ruby Tuesday in Center City, Philly. First floor of the Liberty Place building. I had a couple that would come in about twice a week that requested me. They would gorge themselves at the salad bar for about an hour, ask for large glasses of water with no ice, then both would take the water into the bathroom. They would come out a few minutes later with empty glasses, ask for the check and leave. I finally put it together that they were bulimic after I walked in the women's bathroom and it smelled like vomit. Very polite folks and tipped well though. That's really sad. I was once at an old country buffet, waiting patiently to get some mac and cheese. The kid in front of me plied his plate high, and then started tapping the serving spoon to get all of the chessy goodness free from the confines of the spoon. Once he was satisfied with his handiwork, he licked the spoon clean. I didn't have any mac and cheese, and haven't been back since. What an butthole child. Me personally, I frickin' love me some mac and cheese. Hands would have been thrown if it were me. Wouldn't actually punch a kid, but man I'd be peel mayo. I didn't work at an all-you-can-eat, but my sister did. The buffet itself was on the first floor, so you had to take either the stairs or the elevator to your seat. Once there was a lady who was carrying a tray with a whole lot of stuff on it down. Glasses, plates and a whole lot more of junk. My sister asked the lady if she needed any assistance, to which the lady replied, "You assume because I'm fat I need help." My sister didn't react. A few seconds later the lady fell down the stairs. There was blood and food everywhere. I had a co-worker that briefly managed a Ryan's buffet. He said that it was fairly common for people to gorge themselves, then purge in the restroom and start eating again so that they could get their money's worth. Leave it to Ryan's buffet, where the quantity is the goal and 8-year-old kids are 6'0" with mustaches. When you talk about something gross at a buffet, Ryan's is always there to say hold my beer. They legit just have ham sitting in boiled water. So I work in an all-you-can-eat using tablets. This is, according to my boss, based on a Japanese kind of restaurant. We serve, mostly, Asian food, from Chinese to Japanese and even some Korean. The premise is that people order their food in rounds and we then bring the food to their table when it is ready. We always warn customers beforehand that, if they leave food behind, because they ordered too much, they will have to pay extra, depending on what they left behind. We have seen people try the weirdest stuff if it comes to not paying extra. People dumping food in their handbags, to people shoving it in their mouths then go to the toilet and flush it, to putting hair on it and blaming us for it. We see them pull this stuff, etc. And when we actually catch them doing it, they blame us for it and refuse to pay. Some people let it come down to the police to sort it out sometimes. There have been multiple occasions on which they were involved to solve the problem for just €5. I guess some people's greed has no extent. College friend worked at a Chinese buffet. He said they caught a regular dipping his pizza in the wonton soup bowl, like, in the queue and not at his table, and eating it. Bite, dip, bite, dip, bite, dip. After the 4th time in a month he did it, management finally kicked him out. The classic 4 strikes and you're out. Not a worker, but I once saw a grown man have a childlike meltdown over the fact that he showed up to soup plantation too late and missed out on the biscuits and gravy. To be fair, that really is a traumatic experience. Not a worker, but I was at a Chinese buffet with a hot pot option that you had to pay extra for. There was a separate section with the stuff for that which was raw. This guy loaded up his plate with all this raw stuff and was eating it, including dangerous raw stuff like shrimp. I think he may have been slightly intellectually disabled. The Chinese staff had to come over and inform him that he was eating the wrong things and try to explain it to him. He got really embarrassed and said that he did not understand how it worked. Between the Chinese staff with their limited English and this poor guy who was not capable of really understanding what he had done wrong, it was one of those awkward moments in a life that you cannot forget no matter how much you try. Not an employee, but I was standing behind a woman at hometown buffet. She was getting some lasagna or something. Basically a really cheesy pasta that when you lift the serving utensil, a lot of cheese hangs on. I witnessed her lift her pasta, twirl all the excess cheese that was connected around her index finger, and there was a lot, clip it off with her thumbnail, and then fling it back into the pasta. I knew I shouldn't have been at hometown buffet in the first place, but this solidified my stance to never go back. When I read and then fling it back into the pasta I gasped. I worked as a server at a Chinese buffet and 4 things came to mind instantly. 1. A middle-aged woman puked on her table and blamed it on giving herself the wrong insulin dose. The 4 mountains of food she destroyed probably contributed to. Profusely apologized and tipped me $1. 2. I tried to pick up a dirty plate off a table that had a big pool of hibachi sauce grease on it. The customer stopped me and said that's the best part, then proceeded to drink the sauce like it was the milk after a bowl of cereal. 3. A young mother complained to me because the crab meat and cheese that we serve on the buffet made her child sick and they threw up. Her child was an infant, not even a year old. I'm no child care expert, but baked artificial crab meat and mozzarella can't be good for a baby. 4. The restaurant was raided by ICE one morning shortly before opening. The entire back of the house and one of our managers were deported. Back of the house was 1/2 Chinese and 1/2 Latin American. I was just a witness, but I saw how a woman came in with about 5 kids and she made them all sit at a table while she got food, even if they seemed old enough to get it themselves. She just grabbed 2 trays, placed 3 plates on both of them and literally poured all the chicken nuggets on one plate so it was a huge mountain. She did the same to 5 other dishes and left 5 pans that were full or almost full before she came empty. Needless to say, people were pissed, especially when she did it multiple times again with other dishes and would often glare at people if she saw them taking food from dishes she probably wanted. Family was gone and I saw their dirty plates with napkins crumpled on top, so of course I clean it up and pass the plates. 15 minutes later they come back and the mom starts yelling at me in Spanish, so I get my co-worker to translate, and basically her daughter's retainers were in the napkins and I already threw them away. She kept complaining about how they were $250 plus, so I literally had to dig through a huge trash can full of a sludge of food and drinks for 15 minutes. But fortunately I found them and the daughter thanked me and she seemed embarrassed that her mom made me dig through the trash. I'm sorry you've had to do this, as I have as well. In my case though, the mom was really cool and offered to take gloves and dig herself. We said nah, we gotta do it in the back anyway. Still took digging through 2 55-gallon cans 75% full. Not fun. At one point I worked for a pizza place that used to have a day buffet that I would make pizzas for. One time 2 huge dudes come in the moment we opened for the buffet. The manager on duty dropped the first 2 pizzas down on the buffet, turned to grab the next 2, turned back and both pizzas were gone. A few minutes later both dudes walk back up and each take an entire pizza again and walk back to continue eating. They proceeded to do this over and over, grabbing an entire pizza each for themselves for the entire 3 hours we were offering the buffet. It was one heck of a day. There was a fairly expensive restaurant in Dallas in the 80s called Southern Kitchen. About $25 per person back then with food served to the table. Really good stuff. They were famous for cinnamon rolls. The owner said he'd seen many women ruin expensive purses hiding those rolls. Man, I miss that place. Pickle boy. There was this man who used to come into our restaurant who clearly wasn't all there in the head. He was functional but very weird. As the months progressed, he got way weirder. He started wearing women's underwear over his clothes, even going so far as to stuff his bra. Picture a 6 feet 2 inches 250 pounds dude with a baby face wearing silky underpants and a lace bra over ratty jeans and a stained Hawaiian shirt. That's our guy. He went from being able to hold a sort of normal conversation to just spouting conspiracy theory word salad. But the weirdest thing was his change of eating habits. He used to eat a variety of our soup, salad, baked potato options from our buffet, but as his mental health deteriorated, so did his desire for variety, I guess. By the time his weirdness devolved to aggression and we had to 86 him, he was coming in for two things: pickles and ranch dressing. He'd pile as many pickle slices as he could onto his plate, then put so much ranch on them the dressing and pickle juice would be running all over the tray. He'd eat it all, and his face would be covered in ranch and pickle bits. Then he'd drink water straight from the pitcher he inevitably stole from the wait station, sliming it with pickle ranch slobber. Never a dull moment with that dude around. Pickle boy, wherever you are today, I really hope you got the help you so desperately needed, but I was not sorry to see you go. ETA. For those who are asking about the term 86, on this case it means we kicked him out permanently. Sounds like an unfortunate case where someone went off their meds and you got to witness the deterioration. I used to work in an all-you-can-eat buffet. I would usually be the one who cleans up after people once closing hours pass. Essentially, I was the de facto janitor of the place. This one time I had to clean the bathrooms after the place closed. No problems in the female bathroom, but when I went into the male restroom the image was burned into my retina instantly. An old man was lying on the floor, face down in a puddle of muck. Not just any sewage muck, but opaque, black muck. It had the color of motor oil. Smelled awful too, like a mix of fecal matter and rotting durian. Certainly didn't help that the liquid wasn't just smeared all over the floor, but spread across the walls too. There were freaking handprints across the wall, presumably when the geezer was trying to stand himself up. I peered into the toilet. More of that brown liquid, along with chunks of corny poop. There's also this fluid in your digestion called chyme. It's basically the thing right before food turns into poop. The pulpy acidic liquid with partially digested food in it. I could see scraps of chicken breast and sauce mixed in there with the pulpy chyme. As for the old guy, well, turns out, he didn't merely faint. He actually died. I was in a room with a fresh, decomposing corpse in the stages of alga mortis. He had his pants off. Presumably he crap himself to death, but I don't know. Sucker emptied himself like one of those cement mixers you'd see in a cartoon. Except you just replace the cement with a liquid that embodies death itself. Needless to say, I, like him, emptied my digestive contents, just from the opposite end that he did. After that I quit. Frick that place, man. I'm certain the medics that showed up to this scene also have it permanently burned into their retinas. What a crap show. Not a worker, sorry, but the Golden Corral in the city where I went to college got shut down thanks to an employee. He found it odd that they made a busboy sign a non-disclosure form to work there. He found out it was because they were breaking just about every health and safety rule. They were serving meat that had gone green. They would leave food out overnight. The freezer once broke down for 3 days and they kept serving from it despite it being in the danger zone. He wore a hidden camera and gave the news the footage. It made me so glad I never ate there. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.